Today on JiK Labs, we're going to look at the Find and Replace feature in Microsoft Excel. Let's get started. Once all of your data is entered, or you're in the process of entering data, from time to time you have to go through your set of data and find particular things. So you can scroll, hunt. That's very time consuming. Excel has a built-in feature called Find and Replace that's going to make your life a heck of a lot easier. So on the home ribbon on the far right hand side, you can say Find, and select. Click that down drop arrow. We're going to click on Find to start with. Also, Find has a shortcut key, which is Control F. When you hit that, it brings up a new window called Find and Replace. And right now, we want to look for JiK. We could say Find Next, and it'll click through all of the instances, or we want to select Find All. And right now, we can see that Excel has brought up all of the things for JiK. We can see it here in our window, and it'll tell us each cell reference and the value. If we wanted to highlight them all, we can press and hold Control and select the ones that we want to highlight. But if we want to highlight them all, we can select the first one, press and hold Shift, and click at the end. When we close this window, we will see that all of the JiKs are highlighted, and we can come in here and we want to highlight those JiKs. We hit that on the shortcut fill window, and now all of the JiKs are highlighted and are yellow. Just makes it a little bit easier to spot that information that we're looking for. So that was Find. We found all of the JiKs, closed, selected them all, replaced them, and once we were done, highlighted them all yellow. Now we want to find and replace. So we can going to hit Control H, and that's going to bring up a new window for us. And it's actually the same exact window as Find, just you have two tabs, Find and Replace. Now let's just, for instance, we wanted to find everything Bob. Let's find all. We'll see all of that information on the screen. But now if we want to replace it, we come over here and it says, it already knows we want to find Bob, but we want to replace it with Robert. So we'll type in Robert and we're going to hit Replace All, and it's going to show us that 24 instances were replaced. We hit OK. Now we can see that all of these Bobs have now become Robert. We've closed out that window, and we can look at our sheet and see that there are no more Bobs, but all of those instances are now Robert. So another thing with the search and find, let's hit Control F one more time. We're going to bring up Find and Replace, but as you see right here, we have an Options tab. We're going to hit Options, and now it gives us a lot more criteria in which we can look for. It must match case, match the entire contents, or we can look within just this tab or of this sheet of this workbook in rows by columns, formulas, notes, comments, or values. Formulas is going to look for pretty much everything. Values is only going to be if it's a equation and it's whatever value it's in there. Comments and notes are searching a little bit more in depth for comments that you've inserted, something we haven't looked at on this channel yet, but it searches pretty much just the comments that have been inserted. Another cool feature with Find and Replace is you can look and change formatting of the cells and data that you're looking for. So let's hit Control H again, go into Find and Replace. And what we're looking for is we're going to go to Format, click that down drop arrow. We're going to choose a format from the cell. So we're going to highlight that and we're going to pick any cell we want. We're going to select Invoice Number. So once we've hit Find All, we brought that window back up. I don't know where it went for you. And we can see that invoice number, date, salesperson, cost, GP meet those requirements. So we have found them, but we're not going to replace them with anything, but we're going to come in here and we're going to replace the formatting. So we're going to click on the format, we're going to go to fill, and we're going to make those blue. And we'll hit OK. And then we're going to hit Replace All. We're going to find that 7 replacements were made. It doesn't tell us anything here because the value is still the same. And then we're going to go ahead and close that window, and we'll see that our invoice numbers and pretty much our header row is now all blue. There's one thing to keep in mind when you're using find and replace is you hit Control H to bring up replace. When you're looking at the options and you're searching for things, right now we want to change the invoice numbers from 1000s to 2000. So we could in theory change from 1 to 2. We hit find all, but you're going to see on this screen that it has a lot more. It's finding every single one that you're looking for. So let's close this window. And we know we want to just change any data that is in this window here. So we're going to highlight invoice number, column A. We'll hit Control H again. And now we're going to find 1 with 2, find 1, replace it with 2, and we're going to say find all. Now here's one thing to keep in mind is as you're going through, right now let's just make this change, but let's look at cell A13. That's 1011. Right now we're telling Excel to replace 1 with 2. So let's go ahead and replace all, and we can see that now the invoices are 2000s, but once again we have that same issue, 2022. So once again we're going to back that guy out and just be wary or be mindful of when you're using the find and replace function. If you're just being very general or very general with what you're looking for and you go to hit replace, it's going to screw up your data. One thing to keep in mind when you're using find and replace, it will either look through the entire worksheet or your entire workbook, depending on where you have your options set. But if you want to narrow your search for, let's say, a given column or a given row, be sure to highlight that area first, and when you hit Control F, we're going to say we want to find everything with a 1. Let me bring up that little find and replace window for you, and we're going to hit find all. And then you're going to see here that we just have a list of all the invoice numbers. Let's close that again. Let's remove all of the selection, and we're going to hit Control F again. We'll bring up find and replace. We're going to hit find all, and then you're going to see you have everything, dates, invoice numbers, everything on this sheet or on this tab that it is looking for. So again, just highlight the area that you want to look for. It doesn't even have to be the entire column or entire row. You could highlight a subset of that area. Like right now we're 1001 to 1015. Hit Control find and replace, bring up that window, hit find all again, and we can see 1001 to 1015. Just keep that in mind. It can help you pinpoint your searches and then not have to go through and select what you want and may not want to replace with your searching. Another cool feature with find and replace is the ability to change Excel equations on the fly. So right now we're going to come in here with GP dollars. We're going to copy that over the I, and we're going to see that these equations are wrong because we know that GP dollars are the sales amount minus the cost. But as we move this equation over with a copy and paste, the equations aren't lining up. So H needs to be E and G needs to be D. So we're going to highlight column I, hit Control I. We're going to bring up find and replace. We're going to find G and replace it with D. But keep in mind, if remember, we're in GP dollars column and that's our header. So we want to hit find all, and we're going to see that right here, GP dollars, it's going to change that G to a D. So we don't want that. So we're going to highlight this first data, which is I3, scroll down to the bottom and highlight everything and hit replace all. 80 replacements were made. We'll close that. We'll highlight this again, hit Control H to bring up find and replace, and then once again we're going to come in here and go from H to E, and we'll hit replace all, and we have 80 replacements made. We're going to go ahead and close that window, and now you'll see on the screen that our GP dollars equal to GP dollars. It is taking the sales amount minus the cost. That is a very simplistic way of how to change equations, but it is a way that you can do it. If you have a summary sheet where you have equations referencing a different cell, it is a lot easier to update them without jumping back and forth. So we're going to go ahead and delete this information because that was just for purposes of showing you. As a reminder, Control F is for find, Control H is for find and replace. But keep in mind, either one of those will always get you to where you need to be because it's the same exact window, and you just can click on the tab to find and or find and replace any information you may need. Experiment with this. You'll get used to it as it goes, but it's a heck of a lot easier than scrolling through all of your data and trying to find it manually. Thanks for watching our video today. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that little notification bell, and we'll see you all back here next week. Thanks for watching. Now that you have your data entered and you're starting to do some analysis, that there are a lot more, we're going to see,